Hi students, we are moving on to today's lesson, but before doing that, I would like to go through the answers for the last two activities that we did on the student booklet. So please turn to page 83 and 107. Do mark the book accordingly. If need be, you may pause the video to mark the questions. Moving on to page 107 on equivalent number sentences. Like what I say, if need be, you just need to pause the video. Okay, moving on to page 117 today for our 117 for our lessons today. So let's go. So backtracking or unknown quantities. So this topic is something that we have done before, but it's always good for us to review again. Like for example, when you're given an equation or several equations like what you see on the PowerPoint slide here. So how do you go about, finding out the missing value in these boxes? So first thing first, let's look at this. Oh, I have a situation 6 times something will give me 63. So one easy way is just to do the reverse, which is 63 divided by 7 to get 9. Next question, 2 plus what to give you 50? So again, plus, the opposite of plus is minus. So 50 minus 2 is 48. So it makes sense, 2 plus 48 equals to 50. But now is a challenging part. When you have division, do we go about getting the opposite of the divide sign, which is times? No, we can't do that, because then otherwise you'll become a fraction answer, isn't it? So instead of doing so, you just need to directly have 24 divided by 8 to get 3. Okay, because 24 divided by 3 will give you 8. So that's why whatever you do, you always have to substitute back into the equation to see whether it makes sense. So same thing for this, you can't say, oh, the opposite of minus is plus, because if you do so, 54 plus 29, the number will become too big. So 54 minus a bigger number than 54 will give you a negative number and not a positive. So for this case, you still have to do the same as 54 minus 29 to give you 25. Plus 54 minus 25, you get 29. Okay? Let's go. What about equations like this? You have multiple steps. Oh, so something minus 7 will give you 71. So again, for this case, I can do the opposite. 71 plus 7 is 78. 78 minus 7 is 71. Next question, can I also do the opposite? Seems like it. So 49 minus 19, you get 30. So 30 plus 19 will give you 49. So what about this case? Something divided by 4 is equal to 12. Yes, this case I can still do the opposite. So it's 12 times 40. 12 times 4, you get 48. 48 divided by 4, you get 12. And last but not least here, so something times 5 will give me 80. So I do the opposite of times, meaning I got to divide. So 80 divided by 5, I get 16, because 16 times 5 will give me 80. Okay, so be very familiar with this technique. Okay, always have to balance the equation. Remember, I've shown you the diagram of having a balanced beam to make sure that both sides are the same. So what about this kind of equation here? So I have unknowns there. So on the left hand side, okay, I have 45 minus 12, which is something that I can simplify. I get 33. So I gotta ask myself, 3 times what will give me 33, which is 3 times 11, which is 33 divided by 3, which is 11. So over here, 6 times 8, we know it's 48. So 14 plus what to give me 48? So again, I do the opposite. 48 minus 14, I get 34. And then same thing here. 8 times 9 plus 10, I get 82. So what plus 14 will give me 82? So it's 82 minus 14, which is 68. Oh, there's an error here. It should be 68 instead, isn't it? Okay. Okay. Apologies. Okay. Next. You have 6 times 10 divided by 5, which is 12. So what minus 40 will give you 12? So it's again the opposite. 40 plus 12, which is 52. So 52 minus 40 will give me an answer of 12. Okay? Now what about all this equation here? So you have to formulate the equation. So let's look at B. And you have something divided by 6 and add 7 to it to give you 10. So that's the equation. So let's look at this equation. So what is this thing plus 7 to give me 10? So we know that this missing thing is actually 3, isn't it? It must be a 3 to get me 3 plus 7 to be 10. So what divided by 6 will give me 3, which is 18, isn't it? Right? So having another example here, J. So you have something, subtract 2 from me. So this number, okay, you subtract 2, and then after that you divide by 12. Okay, be mindful of the Bidmer's rule here. You have to bracket it first, okay? So what divided by 12 will give me 4? So what is that thing? So it seems like it's going to be 48. 48 divided by 12 will give me 4. So what minus 2 will give me 48? And that's right, it's 50. So 50 minus 2, the answer, divided by 12 will give you 4. Okay, moving on to the next part, which is equation on student book page 137. So how do you form an equation? So most of the time, in BEAM, at the lower level, you have learned the skill. Okay, let's find the multiple steps, and then eventually you get all the information and then you solve the problem. But now at year 5, we want to teach you how to form an equation. Now you have to put all the correct information onto one equation. So, yeah, we can always find the cost of the 8 chairs, which is $15 times 8 because they're 8 chairs, $120. The cost of the 3 tables, $59 times 3, which is $177. The price of the 3 potted plants, which is 28 times 3, which is $84. So then we find the total. Unfortunately, this part of the book, we are required to know how to put everything into one equation. So it's not so difficult. What you can do is you just have to combine all of them together. So the total price, so you have 15 times 8, which is the cost of the 8 chairs, plus 59 times 3, which is the cost of the 3 tables, plus another 28 times 3, which is the cost of the 3 potted plants. And from there, you can get the total cost, the individual costs, and then after that, you sum them together. Okay, isn't this neater? Much faster? Okay. Give you another example. The height of Nick, Alex, and Andrew is 144 cm, 141 cm, and 153 cm, respectively. What is the average height of these boys? So again, what we can do in the past is, find the total height first. Then after that, the total height divided by 3 to get the average, isn't it? So how can we combine everything into one equation? That's right. What we need to do is to combine everything, and then you divide by 3. And the answer is 146 cm. Okay, one more question here. 1/3 of a class of 45 students are going for an overseas education trip. Each of them are required to pay $2,000 for the trip. $2,000 for the trip. What is the total amount of money collected for this trip? So again, in the past, you will have, let's see how many students are going for this trip, which is 45 divided by 3, because 1/3 of the class are going. So 15 of them. So 15 times $2,000 each. So the total collected will be 30,000. So how do we put them into one equation? So that's how you do it. First and foremost, you find the number of students attending the trip times $2,000, which will give you 15 times $2,000, and $30,000 is collected. Okay, so do spend time completing these 2 activities on page 117 and 137. If you have any issue, do contact me on Teams or direct message. Okay, hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.